This episode of Off The Script is brought to you by WrestleRumble.com and the Royal Rumble Pick'em. The Royal Rumble Pick'em is a contest based on a point system where the winner will be the contestant with the most points. Contestants can earn points by correctly picking the winners of the Royal Rumble matches as well as the 30-man over-the-top rope Royal Rumble. And I'll tell you what, man, WrestleRumble.com has absolutely outdone themselves with the biggest prize list of all time. Just like inside the Alamo Dome this Sunday at the Royal Rumble, you could be sending yourself to WrestleMania 33. First place is $500 cash and 2 WrestleMania tickets. Second place is $200 cash and 2 WrestleMania tickets. Third place is $100. Fourth place is $75. Fifth place is $75. Sixth place is $50. Seventh, eighth, ninth, and 10th place is a free entry into the WrestleMania Pick'em contest this coming April. And listen to this, it's not over yet. If you get the most questions answered with the most points during the Royal Rumble match itself, you will be sending yourself to NXT TakeOver Orlando WrestleMania 33 weekend. One entry is $10, and if you guys want 3 times the chance to go to WrestleMania, a triple entry is $20. Once again, that is WrestleRumble.com. The Royal Rumble Pick'em is now live. Enter today, and make sure you're the last one standing inside the Royal Rumble Pick'em. On this episode of Off The Script, number 154, part number 3, for your Royal Rumble Sunday, January 29th, 2017. I got news on the confusion for Smackdown Live and their creative team. What is really going on with Road Dogg and Ryan Ward? I got the full story for you right here on Off The Script. Also, major angle, obviously, as you guys know, will be taking place at the Royal Rumble between Seth Rollins and Triple H. Information on that. Also, The Undertaker requires another major surgery, may not be 100% for WrestleMania 33. Also, Triple H considering permanent retirement from in-ring competition. Upcoming match with Seth Rollins may very well be his last. And finally, former WWE Intercontinental Champion calls out the current product and says that WWE is garbage. Who is it? And what did he say? All this, plus so much more, right here on Off The Script.
JD from New York, 206, it's time for Off The Script. Big Show and Ryback, Strowman and Roman, get off my fucking TV and save me the misery. And all you fucking goons, grab a cold beer. The man of the hour is finally here. JD from New York, 206. It's time for Off The Script. JD from New York, 206. It's time for Off The Script.
What is going on, guys? JD from New York here. Thank you so much for tuning back into the channel. Off The Script episode 154, part number 3 for your Royal Rumble Sunday. And you can feel the excitement in the air, man. You can feel that excitement that only comes around once every year. The road to WrestleMania begins tonight, and I can't wait for it. We are just mere hours away from the Royal Rumble. I will keep you guys updated on literally everything late breaking as far as the Rumble goes right here on the channel. Make sure you guys are subscribed JD from NY206. Follow me on Twitter. I'll be tweeting all night long during the Rumble event. And follow me on Twitter at JD from NY206. Make sure you guys do that. Very, very important. If you guys missed my NXT TakeOver San Antonio review and results video, that is now on the channel. You guys can go check that out. Link will be down in the description, as well as a video annotation on the screen right in front of you. Make sure you guys go and check that out. Great event last night from the Freeman Coliseum in San Antonio, Texas. So make sure you guys go and check that out as well. As far as Off The Script today, guys, a lot of minor stories. They're not really anything that's going to blow your socks off. I'm really going to be saving the big stories for Off The Script Extra. I want to keep everything here, majority non-Royal Rumble, because this is normally just news and rumors, and being that the Royal Rumble is just fucking so big right now, and everybody's talking about it, I want to get specific Royal Rumble videos out to everybody on the channel with Off The Script Extra. So like I said, please keep your eye on the channel when I upload. They can go up at any given moment. And I do have one planned for later, news on Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns, and now possibly Roman Reigns not winning the Universal Championship. So whatever that means for Monday Night Raw or the Royal Rumble tonight, we're going to find out. So I got news on that. So like I said, keep an eye on the channel, all right? Audible.com is sponsoring the podcast all weekend and from here on going forward. audibletrial.com. Make sure you guys take advantage of the service. 30 days free to try the service, and you get to keep one audiobook, man. You're going to get one audiobook with that free sign-up. 30 days to try the service with one free audiobook. Tons of wrestling books, over 180,000 books to choose from. And if you guys do sign up, please tweet me that you did sign up and what book you actually chose for your free audiobook, and I will definitely retweet you guys on Twitter. So that's audibletrial.com/offthescript. Make sure you guys check that out. Very, very important. And Wrestle Rumble. Make sure you guys got your Wrestle Rumble picks in tonight. Going to be a big night, giving away the biggest prize pool they've ever done. Tickets to WrestleMania for the first and second place winners. And then if you get the most points in the Royal Rumble, you're going to go to NXT TakeOver Orlando WrestleMania weekend. So WrestleRumble.com with their Royal Rumble pick'em. It's the biggest pick'em they've ever put together, man. So make sure you guys check those guys out. They've been sponsoring the podcast all weekend long as well. That's WrestleRumble.com, okay? Let's get into the show, guys. Part 3 here. I'm going to start off with this story because I thought this was absolutely fucking hilarious. Former WWE Intercontinental Champion calls out the current product and states that it is garbage. Talks territories and scripted promos right now in WWE. The glory days of professional wrestling are what many traditional fans still long for. While one could call the product an evolution of a sort, the stronger consensus with many old school fans and many old school superstars is that the product has stripped away the essence of hero versus villain, good versus evil. There's no larger than life characters in WWE anymore, and in turn, this takes away from the excitement for many spectators, leaving many empty by the conclusion of a feud, a title change, or even the build-up to a match, which we see pretty much every week on Monday Night Raw. On the go-home show of Monday Night Raw, the ending of the show certainly showed what the product has been missing for quite some time. Already scheduled to appear, Bill Goldberg. They did one final hype for his appearance in the Royal Rumble, reiterating his quest to become the WWE Universal Champion. During his promo, Paul Heyman appeared to hype Brock Lesnar's appearance in the match. Surprisingly, Lesnar was at the Quicken Loans Arena in Cleveland, Ohio, and Heyman has faked a Lesnar appearance before, but this time it was real. But I could have swore they actually announced him before the show, weeks leading up to this, so it really wasn't all that surprising when he came out. We kind of knew he was going to be there. I know they advertised it, but WWE kept it hush-hush throughout the entire show as if they wanted it to be a big surprise. But you put a graphic on the screen that Brock Lesnar is going to be, on this specific Monday Night Raw, and they made it seem like it was just out of the blue. He was there and nobody knew. So, they have faked it before, but he was there. The crowd erupted at the thought of an altercation between Goldberg and Lesnar. When Lesnar walked around the ring and eventually went inside to face off with Bill Goldberg, the lights went off, followed by the Undertaker's music. The Cleveland crowd erupted to an even greater degree when the three giants stood in the middle of the ring, facing each other, staring each other down. Not only did this leave a cliffhanger that promoted excitement for the Royal Rumble, but it also gave possible implications for WrestleMania 33. Moreover, it gave the crowd the feeling of a fan and created one of the best moments in Raw in the last several months, to be honest with you, due to the larger-than-life feel. It was larger than life because all the characters were larger than life. We don't see that all too often, and it's not really it's not really presented to us with the likes of a Chris Jericho and a Kevin Owens and a Seth Rollins and a Roman Reigns and all this other shit that's going on Monday Night Raw. You got Bill Goldberg, who is a WWE superstar they just brought back. He was a WCW legend. They signed him to a deal. You know, he's a big deal. He was a big deal back during the Attitude Era, and he's still a big deal. Okay? Whether you like him or not, Bill Goldberg is still a big deal. Brock Lesnar, I don't need to reiterate that about Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar is Brock Lesnar. He's a fucking beast. He's a monster of a man. He's larger than life. He's one of the most realist athletes you'll find in the WWE. The Undertaker, again, I don't have to mention anything about The Undertaker. The Undertaker is still larger than life. He is the greatest creation that WWE has, besides WrestleMania. And the WWE, you know, with The Undertaker, always at WrestleMania, it just brings back that nostalgic feel that we love so much about the old product, the old school. He's still there, and it's still the same feeling that we had back when we were children. That's what The Undertaker brings to the table. So all that mixed into one big bowl, it definitely did create a larger-than-life feel for the end of Monday Night Raw. And Monday Night Raw, to me, they did a better job than SmackDown did. SmackDown went the typical route with the big battle royal with the Lumberjacks and showing you what chaos can do inside that type of environment. That's the typical way WWE usually books the Royal Rumble build. I don't like that. I much preferred what they did with Monday Night Raw. Some people came to me and said, you know what, JD, it was cool to see all three of them in the ring, but the silence really didn't do anything for me. Sometimes silence is golden, man. Sometimes silence is what you need. All you need to see is the facial reactions, and that's it. I mean, wasn't The Undertaker, I don't know who it was with. I don't know if it was Shawn Michaels or Triple H. I think it was Triple H. Where they pretty much met in the middle of the ring, and that Triple H, Undertaker, WrestleMania feud that they had, which was fantastic in its own right. When The Undertaker challenged Triple H to WrestleMania, he didn't say a goddamn fucking word. They stood in the middle of the ring, and they just looked at each other. And they pointed to the WrestleMania logo, no matter how cheesy that fucking is. The silence and the body language and the facial expressions on those two athletes said it all. So the fact that, you know, guys like that can get over what that moment means to everybody by not uttering a word is fucking unbelievable. I like that. I loved it then when they did it with Triple H and The Undertaker, and I loved it on Monday Night Raw. That was one of the few things I will say that I loved, in the past couple of months on Monday Night Raw was that. You know, everything leading up to that was cringe. Goldberg's promo was awful. You know, he might have gave himself a fucking concussion by knocking himself silly with the entrance that he does. Heyman came out, saved the whole thing. Lesnar came out. He circled the ring like a shark. And then all of a sudden, you got those two guys staring each other down. All of a sudden, the lights go out, the gong hits, and The Undertaker standing there looking at both of them. You know? Not a word was said. Not a fucking word was said between all three of those guys. I loved it. One wrestler who is highly disappointed in WWE not being able to create moments like that on a consistent basis is former ECW champion and WWE Intercontinental Champion Shane Douglas. He also held the WCW United States Championship. Speaking to Pancakes and Power Slams podcast about his upcoming wrestling promotion, which he said would be good compared to WWE's garbage, Douglas gave some key areas of why the current product is not the same as the glory days of the WWE. He stated this on territories. Not having territories has been disastrous for the industry. Where do you learn your craft? What comes first, the chicken or the egg? How do you get a job with the main company if you can't get experience? And how do you get your experience if you can't get a job with the main company? And there's no small company to train them. Vince is now reaping the reward of what he sowed. He's got no place to teach the kids, no place for the kids to learn their craft, so you end up where you have to have the agent tell the kids what moves to do and how much time they have to do it. Read a teleprompter and all that other stuff. I never did any of those things. No agent told me what to do or what to say or what not to do. And then he goes on to say about how WWE writes their promos out for wrestlers to memorize and recite, taking away from the genuineness of a character, which is something that I've spoke about in depth on the channel. I knew my character, says Douglas. These kids don't know their character. It's a script to them. They read off a page. I never did any of that. As seen on Raw, Goldberg flubbed his lines when the Cleveland crowd chanted his name, and he was having a hard time saying the WWE Universal Championship. Not having to experience this during his days at WCW, the memorization of lines is something that could be a challenge for him, just like other part-time stars. Bret Hart further brought this to light during an interview with Forbes, stating how WWE would give him pages of script to memorize with only a few hours to do it, and then perhaps change the entire script just moments before the show. I hate the fucking scripted promos. You guys know, I'm not going to talk about it again. You guys know how much I fucking hate it. Everybody under the sun, everybody in the industry that has been a WWE legend, you know, from the Austins and the Michaels and the fucking Jim Rosses, they've all said the same thing. The scripted promos are fucking terrible. And the way the wrestler comes off to recite it when he goes out on Raw and SmackDown, they sound like fucking robots. It sounds like they're memorizing a script, and the acting is terrible because they're reading what somebody else wrote them and they're not feeling and channeling the character from the inside. I mean, just look at Charlotte. You know? Charlotte is a good heel. Charlotte, when she comes off as natural, is a good promo. But when you see Charlotte and that Bayley segment where she just went over and over and over about Bayley, you know, writing letters in her notebook, wanting to dream about being a WWE superstar and all this other shit. She sounded so fucking scripted. It was channel-changing, inducing garbage, man. It made me want to reach for the fucking remote and change the goddamn channel. She was awful. Absolutely awful. Nothing is genuine about that type of promo. Nothing. Okay? Steve Austin stated several times, give me bullet points and I'll go out there and give you a good show. Did you give promos? Did you give scripted promos to CM Punk? I mean, he's the finest example out of all of them. Look at CM Punk and what he can do with a microphone when you don't fucking script the man. Brilliant. Look at Paul Heyman. You're gonna fucking script a Paul Heyman promo? Come on, man. You give those guys bullet points and you trust them to do the right job. That's all you gotta do. Talk about this, hit on these points. Go ahead. Feel the character. Go out there and emit emotion so that the fans believe you. No, you're having one of these fucking here's your script, Dolph Ziggler. You know? Come on, man. Overly producing these guys as if they're fucking movie stars. These are professional athletes in the heat of combat. Give them points to just hit on. You know, bring up a couple of weeks prior leading up to where you are now, what you got coming up, a pay-per-view, a fucking main event, or whatever the fuck's going on. Hit on that and feel the character from the inside. I hate this shit. Shane Douglas is absolutely fucking right, you know? But as far as WWE being garbage, most of it is, yeah. I would agree with that. But they are, no matter how WWE wants to deny it, they are looking to reach into every fucking cookie jar that there is, and they're looking to overtake the industry, pretty much. And that's exactly what they're trying to do. But that remains to be seen where they take the UK and then where WWE wants to infiltrate next. But as far as Shane Douglas goes, there is a place that these kids can learn. There is a place where they learn everything where they need to, or what they need to before they hit the main shows, and that's NXT. You know, I'm surprised Shane Douglas did not mention NXT here. NXT is WWE's third brand unofficially, and it is a place for them to learn. That's why they're there. They brought in these guys from the outside who don't have as much knowledge and don't know how a typical WWE show is run. They are brought there. They train there. They go over what they need to do there as far as camera, production, lighting, entrance, movement, in-ring, all this other shit. Everything is learned there. Everything is learned there. You learn how to cut a promo there. You learn how to fucking walk down the aisle there. You learn how to fucking look at the camera and where the cameras are positioned, the lighting, everything. Everything. That's where they learn. I'm surprised he didn't mention that. But Shane Douglas really speaking truth here. And you can't really go against what he said. The genuineness, especially the promos, the genuineness of their characters do not exist on modern WWE. More so on SmackDown. It's good. It's okay on SmackDown. On Raw, I don't know what they're doing over there, but they're clearly not doing what needs to be done. Triple H considering permanent retirement from a WWE ring. Upcoming match with Seth Rollins at WrestleMania may be his last. This is quite interesting. Triple H will always be involved with WWE for the rest of his professional career, but his days inside the WWE ring may be coming to an end soon. The game has been working a limited wrestling schedule for years now, but the official end of his wrestling career hasn't been a hot topic on the rumor mill, except for this week. He hasn't wrestled a match since losing the WWE Championship to Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 32. In fact, he's only had one appearance on WWE television since then. And the WWE Universe has been waiting patiently for the game's return to Raw to get the ball rolling for his inevitable feud with Seth Rollins. It's been reported that Triple H's return has been held off until now to give WWE a boost in the weekly ratings. Recently, Triple H and WWE officials teased the former's return to WWE television last week to reignite the fans' interest for his upcoming return. That could happen at the Royal Rumble pay-per-view, and I fully expect it too. Rollins and Triple H seem to be one of the few matches written in stone for WrestleMania 33. However, it's possible that it may serve as a potential retirement match based on some recent comments from the game. The challenge that Triple H has to deal with during an event like WrestleMania is balancing the workload as a COO of WWE and a performer in the ring. For him, that means not being able to enjoy the moment at the moment. During an interview with Crave Online, Triple H discussed the struggle of balancing everything all at once. And he says, and I quote, "The common belief is that for myself and the other guys are that we can't step away from it or we can't let it go, but I'd love to." He'd love to step away, he says. As much as I enjoyed last year when the company asks if you want to go out and compete in front of 100,000 people, it's hard to say no because it's a piece of who you are. That I understand. But at the same time, the workload it creates for you is so massive that it's hard for you to enjoy it all. Even the WrestleMania experience, I spent my time going from business partner to trying to produce NXT TakeOver to trying to oversee the television, and if talent have an issue, my match is up in 2 or 3 matches and there's a talent issue I have to deal with. I'm not out of the pocket. It's become an intense workplace when all of that stuff just comes at you. So a retirement match for the game hasn't been rumored before because the WWE Universe just assumed his wrestling career wasn't coming to an end anytime soon. His schedule has been limited for a while, but he's consistently been able to work with the best young talent the WWE roster has to offer and continue to have great matches with a wide variety of opponents. Rollins seems to be the next man in line. Recently, Triple H issued a stern warning to Seth Rollins, which was yet another teaser for the upcoming feud. The belief is that their rivalry will culminate at WrestleMania, but that could be the last match of Triple H's career. Rollins has acted as a protege to Triple H for a few years now. The two have created quite a narrative for their feud, so giving Rollins the ultimate rub may be the thing that puts his babyface run over the top, or at least at this point, not over the top. At this point with Seth Rollins, it would give his babyface run a shot of much needed momentum, because he has none right now. There is no question that Triple H's wrestling career is winding down, especially when you consider the role of his backstage presence in WWE, and that he has to fall back on that. Most wrestlers don't have that to worry about. His contributions to WWE through NXT and other endeavors like the United Kingdom Tournament make him essential to WWE's future, so focusing on those products and projects rather than getting back into the WWE ring may be what's best for Triple H at this stage of his career. Absolutely. Absolutely. Triple H has done it all. There's no doubt in my mind, Triple H, he is a legend amongst legends for what he did as an in-ring performer and now what he is doing to try and rebrand WWE to what we all want it to be. Triple H's contributions to me for what he has done with NXT, they hold so much more weight and so much more volume than anything that he has done in the ring recently. I understand he had to come back and try to get Roman Reigns over. It failed. I understand Triple H loves to be at WrestleMania. He doesn't need to be. He is molding the future. At some point, he has to step away and realize what he is doing now is more important than what he is going to do in that ring at his stage of the career. I think he understands that. I honestly think Triple H would just rather do what he does now, and that's be the COO. And there's no doubt in my mind Triple H is one of the greatest villains ever. He's one of the best in-ring talents that WWE has ever had. Okay? And I'm talking about as far as what he has done for the company. Character-wise, everything, everything that he's done. Triple H doesn't get enough credit. Everybody thinks Triple H is, the cerebral assassin with the fucking shovel and the sledgehammer. That might have been true back in the day. But Triple H has garnered and gained a lot of respect from many people. And like I said, what he has done with NXT, and what he has done with the Cruiserweight Classic, and what he's done with the UK tournament, and what he's going to continue to do, to go out there and scour the world for the best talent that we know deserve a shot in the WWE, giving the fans the WWE that we long for when Vince McMahon is not around anymore. That's what Triple H is doing. And that's unbelievable. That's amazing. So Triple H, to me, it's worth it if he steps away. It's worth it if this is his last match with Seth Rollins. There's no better man to put over than Seth Rollins right now. He's the end-all be-all. There's nobody else that I would like to see in a ring with Triple H. There's nobody else. He's done it all. He's done everything that you could ask of him. Give Triple H the keys. Let him do what he has to do as far as getting this company to where it needs to be, and let him concentrate on that. His brain now, instead of his body, is his most valuable asset. Simple as that. Triple H doing good things. Seth Rollins, if I was to be a betting man, I'd say WrestleMania 33 and Seth Rollins is indeed his last match. But, like I said, they all get the itch. Shawn Michaels has been the only one that I see who doesn't get the itch to come back. Triple H once a year. Undertaker once a year. But, like he said, in front of 100,000 people to not want to be out there, it's very difficult. And you got to put yourself in his shoes. Do you say no to that? 10 times out of 10, you're not going to say no to that. Triple H is going to be even more valuable now than he was then to WWE. This is where his talent is really going to come in from this day going forward. And I'm looking forward to seeing what Triple H does with the WWE in the future. We have news here on The Undertaker. He requires another major surgery. It may not be 100% for WrestleMania. A few months back, it was reported that The Undertaker had undergone hip surgery after some pictures had leaked of him being on crutches. Immediately, the WWE Universe questioned what that meant for his WWE future and if WrestleMania 33 was off the table for the dead man. It wasn't long before he made his return to Smackdown Live, and it was revealed shortly afterwards that he was in good health following the hip surgery. However, it is now being reported that The Undertaker's hip surgery from a few months ago was only a temporary fix to get him through the matches he'll have at the Royal Rumble and WrestleMania 33. Eventually, The Undertaker will need to have full hip replacement surgery, but he's trying to hold off the procedure until after he officially retires from wrestling. However, that may be sooner rather than later. Clearly, The Undertaker is wrestling on borrowed time. The last thing anyone wants is to watch him suffer a career-ending injury inside a WWE ring, just as Sting did almost 2 years ago. The WWE Universe would prefer not to remember the end of his career like that, but the WWE may have reached a point where the risks of being in the ring are not worth the financial gain or the glory to keep his wrestling career alive. There will always be another great match for The Undertaker to have at WrestleMania. The WWE Universe is still hoping to see The Undertaker vs. John Cena one of these years on WrestleMania's grand stage. Vince McMahon has canceled that match, according to Dave Meltzer and the Wrestling Observer, for WrestleMania 33, so it may never come to fruition if the match in Orlando will be the dead man's last. It's not going to be his last. He was at the press conference for WrestleMania 34 and the announcement in New Orleans. He was in character. He will be in New Orleans. Mark my words. Regardless, Father Time will win the fight eventually when it comes to The Undertaker. The WWE Universe will always welcome The Undertaker back to WWE programming. In recent years, he's mainly been featured during WrestleMania season, yet he is still one of the most popular and talked about WWE superstars all year. The bigger question is how many more matches does The Undertaker have left in his career before WWE is forced to make him retire or something more unfortunate happens in the ring, God forbid. The Undertaker ending his wrestling career is not an easy story to write, especially considering that WWE officials would want to sell and promote WrestleMania at the end as the end of his career. If not this year in Orlando, WrestleMania 34 may be a good place to call it a career. It would be 4 years after the end of the streak. And saying goodbye to the WWE Universe in the same arena that streak died sounds great on paper. And that's exactly why I think Vince McMahon canceled John Cena versus The Undertaker for this year's WrestleMania, and I think he's banking on The Undertaker next year, calling it quits, calling it a day, retiring in the same arena at the same event where the streak died. Undertaker, they could book him winning a world title on his way out. They could book him and John Cena at WrestleMania 34. They could do a bunch of things. But I think next year, 2018, is going to be the last year for The Undertaker. He's got to get through the Rumble tonight. He's got to get through WrestleMania, whoever he goes up against. Either Finn Balor, Roman Reigns, Braun Strowman, whatever the fuck they got planned for The Undertaker at WrestleMania. Nobody knows right now amongst all this speculation. Right now, it's penciled in. It's not written in pen. It's not written in blood. Right now, it's penciled in. Could be erased very easily, but right now it's penciled in with Roman Reigns. So I don't know what's going on with that. That remains to be seen. Hopefully we'll have a better understanding of what's going on with The Undertaker after the Royal Rumble. But The Undertaker, we all know he's not 100% healthy. He will never be 100% healthy. All we can hope for is that The Undertaker is just good enough mentally and good enough physically to give us the quality WrestleMania match we know he is capable of this year and next year. Obviously, Undertaker's at the end of his road, 51 years old. Next year he'll be 52. I think next year is the perfect time to call it a day. WrestleMania 34 in New Orleans is going to be, I think, The Undertaker's last WrestleMania. There you got it. He does need hip surgery, but the hip surgery that he got is only a temporary fix. He's looking to replace both hips after his wrestling career is over. So that is the latest on The Undertaker. Major angle between Seth Rollins and Triple H taking place at the Royal Rumble. WWE made a shocking move on Raw by taking away Rollins' spot in the Royal Rumble match, but it doesn't mean WWE officials don't have something huge planned for him at the pay-per-view involving Triple H. According to new reports, there is still a major angle being planned for Seth Rollins and Triple H, and that is penciled in for tonight at the Royal Rumble. Seth Rollins may make an attempt to earn his spot back into the Royal Rumble match. He could call out Triple H once again, but get a response this time. If Rollins isn't going to wrestle, it's likely that WWE will take the opportunity to announce his match with Triple H for WrestleMania. They could do that. I mentioned on the preview and predictions portion of the podcast, Seth Rollins could come out as a masked luchador. He could come out disguised and gain entry into the Royal Rumble that way, and then they eventually realize who it is. Seth Rollins could attack somebody else from behind and take their spot, prompting Triple H to come out. A huge fucking chaotic brawl ensues. Or, this is my favorite one out of all of them. Sami Zayn beat Seth Rollins. Sami Zayn took Seth Rollins' spot. And now with Seth Rollins gone, and that orchestrated by the Authority, that will leave Triple H to go into the Royal Rumble as a surprise entrant and have himself win the Royal Rumble again. But Rollins sees that, listen, you're not going to be in the Royal Rumble if I'm not in here, motherfucker. So he comes out and he tries to eliminate, or does successfully eliminate, Triple H, and a huge chaotic brawl ensues. And that's when we get the beginning stages of their WrestleMania feud. That could happen at the Royal Rumble as well. But there is something planned. Undoubtedly something is happening at the Royal Rumble with Rollins and Triple H. Okay? There are many ways WWE could utilize Rollins during the Royal Rumble pay-per-view, but the return of Triple H to WWE programming makes the most sense. The game's absence from WWE television has lasted this long because the powers that be wanted to use his star power and feud with Rollins to give Raw a boost in the ratings after the NFL regular season was over and the presidential election was no longer a factor. Recently, Triple H issued a stern warning to Seth Rollins, essentially told him to be careful what he wishes for, because the game is a patient man and can return to WWE anytime he wants. WWE officials clearly have a plan in place for Rollins versus Triple H at WrestleMania and heading into Royal Rumble to begin all of this, because they strategically teased Triple H's return to WWE television a few weeks ago to reignite the interest of the WWE Universe in a feud with Seth Rollins. If Triple H makes his return during the Royal Rumble, it's possible that the game could enter the Royal Rumble match as another dig at Rollins. That's what I just mentioned. And I said that on Friday. Okay? WWE officials haven't postponed their feud for this long for Rollins versus Triple H to not be an extraordinary bout that will go down in WWE history. Ultimately, the rivalry is about putting over Rollins as WWE's top babyface on Raw, especially since Triple H may be calling it a career and putting him over. Rollins being able to say that he was the one to retire the game would be considered a great honor for his career. So there you got it. It's happening. It's definitely going to be one of those three scenarios. I like the idea of Triple H being a surprise entrant in the Royal Rumble. I think that would fucking blow the roof off the place, number one. Number two, that would piss off Seth Rollins so much that he has got no choice but to come down and just fucking try and eliminate this guy. Again, I mean, I want it to be a chaotic fucking scene. I like that, and I think that's exactly what is going to happen. That is my prediction for the Royal Rumble. But a major angle, undoubtedly, between Rollins and Triple H will happen at the Royal Rumble. Rollins not in the match, but he's most certainly going to play a huge part in the show, setting this stage for Triple H and Rollins at WrestleMania. Finally, guys, we're going to end on this. I was given false information about this earlier in the week, and I finally got the truth about this story. Former DX member, Road Dogg, he was promoted within WWE. He's moved up the WWE corporate ladder, and it was all confusion on Smackdown Live. We don't know whether he took over Ryan Ward's spot for head of creative. We don't know if Ryan Ward was fired. I was told Ryan Ward was fired from Monday Night Raw. And the reason why I jumped to that conclusion was because it would not surprise me that WWE would take away someone who's been so talented and so good at what he's done for SmackDown. I would not be surprised to see him removed from his position because he is so good, making SmackDown ultimately better than Raw almost every single week. And Vince McMahon didn't want SmackDown to be the show that outdoes Raw each and every week with this guy's help. So it's happened before with Paul Heyman. It's happened before. And the reason why I jumped on that and thought immediately that this guy was fired is because it happened before. This situation, exact situation, happened before. So you got to understand that whatever happened in the past, you know, WWE and Vince McMahon would certainly not shy away from doing that again in 2017. But over the last few years, Triple H has steadily earned more power and a higher stance in WWE. It is only a matter of time until he presides over the entire kingdom. Until the day that Vince McMahon steps down entirely, though, he won't be at the very top. While that time is coming, Triple H is building up things now, and some of his former DX stablemates are finding themselves in pretty good positioning on SmackDown Live and at the Performance Center. It's no secret that Triple H and Stephanie McMahon are going to have a total control over WWE one day, but Vince McMahon stepping down still seems like a good time off. While that day is coming, it hasn't happened yet, but Triple H is already making his presence known throughout the company. The presence has been most notable with former DX member now working with WWE Creative. Road Dogg Jesse James, Brian James, has been working for WWE for quite a while now, and he has had different positions such as trainer, agent, and writer. The Wrestling Observer, by way of Wrestling Inc., said that there have been rumors of Road Dogg replacing Ryan Ward as head writer of SmackDown Live, but that speculation is not true. Road Dogg is indeed, or has indeed, received a corporate promotion that is believed to be head consultant. Your mother was head consultant last night. I had to get that in there. I had to get that in there, bro. He is now head consultant, but that isn't 100% confirmed either. Ward and Road Dogg are still working together on ideas and scripts for SmackDown Live, but they have different positions within the company. As of this time, Road Dogg is higher in the company, but Ward is still seen as the head writer for SmackDown Live. When Triple H ends up taking over the company, it is expected that his former partner in DX is going to be given a great deal more power. Road Dogg is not the only former DX member who has a position of power in WWE along with Triple H. Rumors started circulating last year from Kevin Nash that Shawn Michaels was going to start working at the WWE Performance Center as head coach, but that speculation appeared to be a bit early. Triple H came right out and said that Matt Bloom was still the head coach at the Performance Center and that it was not Shawn Michaels. He did not say that the Heartbreak Kid wasn't getting a position at all either. Michaels recently spoke with Ring Rust Radio and confirmed that he is indeed working for the WWE Performance Center, but he wasn't sure in what capacity just yet. It is believed that he is giving talent their final polish before they head up to the main roster, but Michaels says it's still up in the air. And I quote, this is what Michaels said on Ring Rust Radio. That's something that WWE right now is in the early stages of getting across. I think, to your point, I think we will have a better idea as we get it more clearly defined about what it is. Finish and polish, that's kind of a vague and broad description. What does that mean exactly? At certain times when it's convenient, people talk in the broad sense, and then you wait until you get down into the details to find out what exactly it is. If certain things could be taught, we would teach them and they would just do them. There are some things that can't be taught, so I'm waiting right now for it to get more clearly defined on what that role is. Back in 2014, Road Dogg and Billy Gunn returned to WWE television once again as the New Age Outlaws and worked a program with The Shield. There was even a DX reunion at WrestleMania 31, but nothing more ever came of it. Gunn worked as a coach for the 6th season of Tough Enough, but he ended up being released in late 2015 for a failing drug test. Bringing in friends and family members to work with someone is not an overly new practice, and it isn't surprising that Triple H would do that with WWE and NXT. Vince McMahon isn't going to be around forever, and his son-in-law is doing a pretty good job right now. It appears that the company is in good hands and would be with Shawn Michaels at the Performance Center and Road Dogg in charge for creative on Smackdown Live. I am happy that Ryan Ward is not fired. I'm happy that he is still on board with SmackDown Live. I think the combination of what we've been seeing is working. There's no need to change it. I'm happy for Road Dogg that he's got a promotion. I'm happy for Road Dogg that he's bouncing ideas off of Ryan Ward and Ryan Ward bouncing ideas off of Road Dogg. Two heads are better than one, man. And for that type of situation, if you can add anything and go along with Ryan Ward's vision and add even more to that and make the shows better, I'm all for it, man. So I'm happy that Road Dogg got a position. I'm happy that Ryan Ward is still the head writer of SmackDown, and I want to see SmackDown grow, man, because quite honestly, it's my favorite show right now of the two, clearly, and they've been doing a lot of things right, where Monday Night Raw has not been doing much of anything right at all. But Ryan Ward is still the head writer of SmackDown Live. Road Dogg is there. He's part of the creative team. He's working with Ryan Ward, but as time goes on, he's going to get a better position of power, and right now he is head consultant. So that is the latest on that story that everybody seemed to blow out of proportion. I am JD. Thank you guys so much for Off The Script, man. What a fucking weekend. I'm going to have videos throughout the day. If I find anything big, you will hear about it right here on the channel. I will have a video up. Royal Rumble tonight. I will have the review and results right after the pay-per-view. Make sure you guys stick it right here. Follow me on Twitter, at JD from NY206. If you guys want to live tweet with me all pay-per-view, make sure you guys do that and sign up and follow me on Twitter, man. Thank you guys so much. Check out the sponsors, Wrestle Rumble, Audible.com, Barbershop Window for your t-shirts. You got Patreon.com if you guys want to pledge to the podcast. Everything else you need to is right down in the description of this video, man. I'm going to take a nice relaxing break. I'll be back with some more videos later today, and then Royal Rumble tonight. Who's going to win it? My money is on Samoa Joe. That is my pick for the Royal Rumble. I want Zayn to win it. My heart wants Zayn. I know it's not going to happen. I'm going with Samoa Joe to win the 2017 Royal Rumble. Thank you guys so much for an amazing weekend. And if you guys won the PayPal Rumble, the 5 winners, please reach out to me on Twitter with your information so I could get you your prizes in a quick and timely manner. I'm JD. Hit that thumbs up, and I'll see you guys later tonight for the Royal Rumble. Talk to you later.